Hi, everybody. It's been a while since you've heard from me, and it feels weird holding this mic, but this is the way the volume is going to sound best. Anyway, welcome back to an episode of Navigating Midlife Live. I'm Connie Pertula, if you haven't seen me before. And I know it's been a while since I've done a video. And there's a few reasons for that. And I'm actually doing this in a different spot. Usually I do this in my office and I'm sitting at my desk. I decided to stand today to do this video. And there's a reason. I'll share that. So where do I start? And I share this in the description, but I do these videos live. I don't script them. I do write down a few points that I want to cover, but I don't script them. And it's basically what's coming from my heart, what I'm feeling at the moment. And there's a couple reasons why I do them live is because one, in this day of AI, you just don't know what's real. And two, I share what I share. I share what's meant to be shared. I share what's on my mind. So why am I doing this live today, and why has it taken me a while to do a live that I haven't done in a while? So in March of this year, I found out that I have osteopenia and osteoporosis. And I'm going to share more about that in a second, but I will say that receiving that diagnosis was very shocking. The reason it was shocking is because I have been lifting weights since age 45, and very consistently, except for a few times. I wasn't quite as consistent when I was really busy in my corporate position, but I was still getting in and lifting weights as often as I could. When my mom was ill, something had to give. And that was one of the things that gave. And then, of course, we had COVID. I couldn't get access to the gym. And so anyway, but I've been lifting weights very consistently. And I thought I was doing all the right things for my body and for my bones. And I'll be 65 this August. And I recently saw my naturopath in, I think it was either February or March, probably February. And I said, I'm going to be 65. I've never had a bone scan done. Should I get one done? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. You should get one done. So I decided to have the REMS scan. It's actually an ultrasound done, and they do the ultrasound on your hip joints and on your L1 to L4 joints in your spine. And I went in thinking, yeah, this is going to show me everything's good. I'm doing all the right things. I eat well. I stay active. Well, I was shocked. My hip joints, I'm osteopenic. So I need to, of course, do the right things to make sure that those improve. And in my L1 to L4, and I always mix this up, but I think it's my L2 and my L4 that I actually have osteoporosis, and my L1 and my L3, I'm osteopenic. And it could be the other way around, but it doesn't really matter which one. What matters is I actually have osteoporosis in 2 of my vertebrae. I was really, really shocked, really shocked. And it's still, to a certain extent, it's like, really? So anyway, I've been thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? So I started doing a lot of research. What do I need to do to improve this? And, there's a few reasons why this has happened, even though I was resistance training with weights, like not doing tons of cardio, doing heavy weights. I did a bodybuilding competition in 2013. I was lifting very heavy weights in order to build my muscle at that time. But here are the reasons why. I was not athletic when I was younger. I was not a gymnast or anything like that. I did not like sports when I was younger. I was active, but I wasn't doing those sports that would provide impact on my body. Then at 18 years old, when I started working, I started right into a desk job. So I spent 34 years of my corporate career, 34 years of my corporate career sitting. Then what do? I leave the corporate career. I decide to go back to school. I'm doing more sitting in class, studying. My job, as you know, my business, I'm sitting. As a nutritionist, I'm doing a lot of research, that type of stuff. So there's reasons for me having osteopenia and osteoporosis. I have never been a heavy drinker. I've never smoked. So, you know, those two factors are positive. I had to stop eating dairy, and I'm going to put, you know, quote, air quotes around that. I had to stop eating dairy in my sort of mid 30s because it just wasn't, I'm not lactose intolerant, but my body can't break down the casein protein in dairy. So I haven't utilized dairy. But again, just eating dairy doesn't mean that you're going to have strong bones. In fact, eating too much dairy can also be a negative because there's many factors to it. You know, once I started seeing a naturopath in 2011, yeah, I started taking certain supplements, vitamin D, all that kind of stuff. But I guess I assume because I was eating healthy, exercising, I was doing all the things that I needed to do for my bones. So big shock. I'll share in a minute, you know, how I'm changing that. But something else that's been happening over the last about year and a half is in December 2024, I had to take a round of antibiotics because I had a tooth pulled. I decided I was going to get a dental implant. I had a really bad abscess in my tooth on the upper left. And this is where, you know, sometimes things can be very silent and not even know that they're there. I had no idea how bad the abscess was. I'd had a weird sensation maybe about 5 years before I'd met a dentist who actually did the full CT cone beam scan to take a full picture of my head. But it went away and there was no pain. And I did have a crown on that tooth. And I guess, you know, some bacteria got in there and created the abscess. Maybe the abscess had been there for years. I don't know. Anyway, did the round of antibiotics. And I was sick 3 times in 2025. I was sick earlier this year, 2026. And I'm like, I don't get sick this often. Like, what is going on? And then I was attending a webinar from one of the supplement companies that I work with. And the practitioner that was on there said, you know, sometimes a round of antibiotics can affect your body up to 2 years. It can affect your immune system for 2 years afterwards. And I thought, that's why I've been sick so many times. My immune system has been affected by those antibiotics. Now, not saying that this is going to happen to everybody, but you know, just with all the health issues and stuff that I've dealt with, I do have a more sensitive system. I know that. That's just the reality. I need to be more, I guess, just more mindful about the things that I'm doing and how things could affect me. And I really didn't think that 1 week of antibiotics would be that big of a deal on my body, but I guess it was. One of the illnesses I had last year, was a really bad stomach flu where for 2 weeks, all I could eat was dry toast, which was very uninteresting, very boring, especially for a foodie. but that also started to cause a lot of digestive issues. So I've been dealing with my digestive issues again, which has not been fun. And even to the point where I've been eating gluten-free for many years, but even to the point where some gluten-free products, and I don't eat processed products, but there's gluten-free things that I'll make, and some of the ingredients do bother me. They cause joint pain for me. And this probably sounds like, oh, poor me, the world's smallest violin. But it just shows me how you can do so many things right, and how something then can suddenly affect you and not put me back at square one, but sort of put me back a little bit. And and now that I'm older, I'm let's see, I'm 15 years post-menopause. I had to do the math quickly there. I'm 15 years post-menopause. Each year that I'm going deeper into menopause, and of course, each year that you age, your immune system is not as strong. So I really need to do things to support my immune system. Um, and okay, so what am I doing? How am I dealing with all of this? And the one more thing, I had a really bad chest cold in December of 2025. I got it about mid-December. I was feeling very sorry for myself because I was sick over Christmas, which meant spending Christmas alone. I don't like doing that. But I didn't want to be around anybody because I was sick. And so I got into comfort eating. And this is something that came about when my mom had her stroke and when she passed away. Comfort eating. And for me, comfort eating is cookies and muffins and cupcakes and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I make it, but that doesn't make it any better. And so I ended up putting on 10 pounds with that illness. And, some people might say, well, 10 pounds, that's no big deal. But no matter what I've done, I cannot release that 10 pounds. And it's somewhat frustrating because I just don't feel as good carrying that extra 10 pounds. That's just me. No judgment to anybody's weight, but this is me personally. It just doesn't feel good on me. A lot of my clothes don't fit. I don't feel as, I don't know, nimble, or I just feel heavier when I move. And I've tracked my macros. Like, I tracked my macros for 2 months really, really closely, seeing, am I out of range? Like, what I'm doing, have I, gotten off track? And I was on point, absolutely on point. And after a while, it's just like, why am I even tracking this stuff? Like, my body is just not budging. So of course, that just shows me that, as we go deeper into menopause and we have an illness, that can further slow down our metabolism. So I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of research. How can I turn this around? Because I believe that I can. I believe that when we support our body the way it needs to be supported, that things start to turn around. So what am I doing? Well, I've been supporting my immune system, of course, with probiotics, eating well, really trying to, watch my sugar intake. It's berry season in the Pacific Northwest, so blueberries, raspberries, cherries, high in antioxidants. Like, yeah, they're high in sugar, but berries are a better option. So just trying to get in, good local fresh food. I always shop at the farmer's market anyway. So the majority of my food is all local within BC for sure. So really focusing on that, making sure that I'm taking my collagen on a regular basis. And I even, check the ingredients. Like, is my collagen good for my bones? Is it going to help to support my joints? And it is. I've taken a look at the multi-mineral that I'm taking, and, what else am I taking? Are there things that I should be taking to support my body? Because I will not go on the prescription for osteoporosis. That's just a personal choice, but I've just read too many negative things about it, so I'm going to do this all naturally. I've added impact exercises. So this is what I found very interesting. Even though I've been lifting good weight for the last 20 years, one of the things I haven't done is I haven't added any kind of an impact exercise. So I've started to add that in, and I'm trying to do it as often as possible. Sometimes the day goes by and I forget. But, standing in the kitchen and, doing something to provide some impact. I'm being very gentle because of the osteoporosis in my 2 vertebrae in my back. You might ask, why did I have the REM scan as opposed to a DEXA scan? It was just a decision. I didn't want to expose my body to the x-rays. So I decided to have the ultrasound. So I could have osteoporosis or osteopenia elsewhere in my body. But those are the 2 areas. The reason they focus on those 2 areas is because when we fall, hip fractures are very, very common. Or, falling back on our butt. That's where, there seems to be more fracture in the L1 to L4. So I don't need to know more. I just need to know that I need to change this. I need to fix this. So I'm adding in, impact exercises, trying to make sure that I'm, getting out for a walk on my non-resistance day trainings or training days. So supporting my body with vitamin D, with D3, with K2, to support my immune system. And my digestive issues, well, I'm doing a couple of different things. I've decided to redo my food sensitivity test. I want to see if, if there's certain foods that I'm eating that I need to eliminate for a period of time. So trying to be really mindful there. But again, you don't know what could be affecting you, even if you're eating good, healthy food. And as I say, excuse me, I've got this frog in my throat for some reason. I guess, I don't know, I'm having a hard time talking about this, right? Because here's the other part. I mean, I'm a certified nutritionist. I went to school for 2 years to learn how to not just look after other people's health, but also how to look after my health. And it's tough. It's tough when you get told that. It's like, gosh, if I can't do things right, but again, we make a lot of assumptions. We think that if we're doing most of the things right, everything's going to be okay. But this is how the body changes over time. And of course, I didn't go on hormone therapy. I tried the bioidentical for a period of time, just didn't work for me. I didn't feel good on it. And there's reasons for that. I always had issues with my levels of estrogen and progesterone. So I just decided to do this naturally. And of course, at this point, it's too late. I'm 15 years post-menopause. I can't go on any type of hormone therapy now. There's too much risk. So I just have to work at this. The good news is that regardless of age, if you start doing things mindfully, especially when it comes to impact exercises, I can improve my bone density. The other thing that I'm making sure that I'm doing is, I guess you could call them agility exercises. So making sure that I'm doing things to support my balance overall. Because we can have osteoporosis or osteopenia, and really the risk only happens if you fall. So if I'm doing things to make sure that, I'm sure-footed, or if I trip or something, that I can regain my balance very quickly, then I'm reducing the risk of a fracture just by that, because I'm making sure that I'm agile, that I can respond quickly. So those things are really important as I'm aging, and I will continue to keep up with that. I'll have another scan done next year sometime to see, if what I'm doing is helping. But absolutely, there are women who have turned this around. In fact, I was watching a video this morning of a woman who found out in her early 60s that she had osteoporosis, very severe osteoporosis. She's now 68, and even her doctors were amazed as to the changes. And she was a personal trainer and physiotherapist. And so, sort of same feeling, very shocking, and almost a bit of denial. How could this happen to me? So I'm redoing my food sensitivity test. I've done another test. It's how do I call it? It's sometimes referred to as an oat test. It's a metabolic indicator test. And it just shows me how my body is detoxing, how, like, all the natural processes in my body. Do I need to do certain things to support my body as far as how it's processing everything? But here's the interesting thing as well, too. My blood tests are virtually completely normal. The only thing that's really out of range is my cholesterol. And I've always had higher cholesterol since my early 20s. It's just, that's just who I am. That's how my body works. But all the other things look good. So you can't, these things are things you can't even see from blood tests either. So that's where I'm at. So what am I also going to do to try and change up my metabolism, to help my body release this 10 pounds that just does not feel good on me? I am going to start doing sprint interval training. I picked up Dr. Stacy Sims' book called Next Level, where she talks about sprint interval training, because it's something I'm not familiar with. I've found some YouTube videos and stuff like that, but just wanted a little bit more information behind it. So I'm going to start adding sprint interval training. My gym has a Peloton bike, and from what I understand, there is a program on there for sprint interval training. So I'm going to start doing that once a week and see if that starts to change my metabolism and helps me get back to where I feel comfortable in my own skin. And again, this is no judgment. And people might say, well, that's just so silly. You're being vain, whatever. Like, you look great. That's fine. But we have to feel good. And somebody might say, well, then you don't have enough confidence in yourself, or you're judging yourself. No, I know how I feel. And that extra weight just makes me feel more sluggish. So it is something that I want to work at taking off. I don't have a specific time period, but I do want to support my body and support my metabolism. And I guess this is a great experiment as well, too. I read all these things, hear all these things that, do this and this works. Well, okay, I'm going to do this. Let's see if it works. Let's see what changes. So that's what's going on with me. Not the easiest video to make, being in a very vulnerable state here, sharing, sort of what's been going on with me. But it's also through my personal experiences that I learn more about this, this time of menopause and how our body changes. And everything that I learn allows me to support my clients even better as well, too. And I guess, in those humbling moments, it also makes you be a little more compassionate overall as well too. So not that I'm not compassionate, but it just makes me understand how easily these things can happen and how getting that news can be very disruptive. And yeah, I got the news back in March. We're now in July. And it's like I was busy doing a bunch of stuff, putting it off. And I just thought, no, it's time. It's just time to share what's been going on with me. And I don't know how often I'll do videos, maybe, once a month update to sort of let you know how I'm doing with respect to my metabolism, whether anything's changing there, whether I'm releasing the weight. And then, just keeping you up to date on some of the other testing that I'm getting done. But hey, even as practitioners, we can struggle as well too, trying to figure out how to support our bodies. But again, as I always say, as long as you're breathing, there is hope. And when we give our body the support that it needs, and it's telling me it needs some different support, our bodies respond, because our body's main goal is to keep us alive, to keep us moving. So everything that we do to support it, it pays us back in spades, gold, whatever you want to call it. It pays us back with independence, strength, and longevity. Thank you for joining. I know that this was a bit of a long one, but I wanted to share everything. So thank you very much for joining. I'd love to hear your comments. If this is something that you've been surprised by, or that you're struggling with, or you've received a diagnosis that shocked you, please, comment. And if you know somebody who's been struggling, and trust me, there's times where it's like, why even bother? Why keep trying at this? It's so hard. But it is worth it, because when you know these things, then you can start to do the support that the body needs. And I'm starting at a better level. I don't have to make a lot of changes. I just need to make a few changes. So it is worth it in the long run. Oh, the other thing I wanted to share is I think that it's wrong that bone scans are not done earlier. And with all of the things that are being talked about with respect to menopause and menopause health, I believe a woman in her 40s should be getting a bone scan done. She shouldn't have to fight for it with her doctor. She shouldn't have to pay for it. It should be automatic in the 40s, so that you can start to make changes moving forward. As I said, I'm going to be 65. Who knows when the osteoporosis and osteopenia started? But if I'd known even 15 years ago at 50, that would have been a whole lot different as far as where I'm at now. So this is something we need to advocate for ourselves, that we need to get bone scans in our 40s, at latest at 50, and then yes, 60, 65, whatever after that. But they should be done at a minimum at age 50 is my belief. And as I say, advocate for yourself. Talk to your doctor about it. Just say you want it done, and it should be done. As women, we should not have to fight for these things. We should be able to be proactive with our health, not reactive. And I think that that's the biggest thing that shocked me, is now I'm having to be reactive. I thought I was doing everything the right way to be proactive so that this wouldn't happen. But I'm going to turn it all around. It's all going to change. I just know it. So please like and subscribe. That helps other women see my videos. Please share with somebody who maybe needs to hear this message. And yeah, stay tuned. I will provide updates when I have an opportunity. And the way I've set myself up, I have to pop off the screen to turn off the video. But anyway, thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you again.